So on the first review, I skipped number 15, and so I'm going to start by doing number 15. What we have here is 3h plus 8 equals 2g, and they want you to solve this for h. So I'm going to start by minusing 8 from both sides. What I get here is 3h equals 2g minus 8, and then I got to get h completely by itself, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. And I would get h equals 2/3 g minus 8/3. So that's 15. Now we'll move to the second part of the unit semester 1 final. Alright, for number 9, we're going to have to find the slope. So what I always do is I write x1, y1, and then x2, y2. And remember that our formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that would be 10 minus 11 over 2 minus a negative 1. 10 minus 11 is negative 1. And 2 minus a negative, well, we change that into plus. So that would be a negative 1/3 as slope. Number 10, x1, y1, x2, y2. I would have 9 minus 0 over 4 minus a negative 2. 9 take away nothing is 9. 4 minus a negative 2, subtracting a negative is the same as plus. So I would get 9/6. Now that can be simplified because 3 goes into both of them. So 3/2 would also be acceptable. Number 12, x1, y1, x2, y2. 9 minus 7 over 2 minus 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. And this is something special. We call this undefined. So our slope is undefined. Number 13, x1, y1, x2, y2, negative 5 minus a negative 5, and 7 minus 3. Negative 5 minus a negative, we have that minus a negative, that turns into plus. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. 7 minus 3 is 4. 0 over 4 is just a 0 slope. Let's see if I missed any. Sure enough, number 11. x1, y1, x2, y2. Negative 8 minus 4 over 1 minus a negative 5. Negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. 1 minus a negative, that minus a negative, we change that into plus. 1 plus 5 is 6. This would equal negative 2. Number 14, x1, y1, x2, y2. 0 minus a negative 3. 3 minus 4. 0 minus a negative, that changes into plus. We get 3 over 3 minus 4 is negative 1, which is the same as negative 3. Let's take a look at number 15. So for number 15, it's asking which of the above lines is horizontal. Well, a horizontal line is 0 slope. So that would be number 13. And the way that I remember this is if we remember this face. And that face reminds me that when we look here at the horizontal line has the zeros on the end on that face. So we know that this would be number 13. Which of the following is the vertical line? Well, if you look at the nose of the person, of the face, The nose points out that an undefined, the U, is a vertical line. So the one up above that was undefined would be number 12. On number 17, we're just doing an input-output. And so for the input-output, I'm going to put in whatever numbers I want. Let's do 0 first. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 3 is negative 3. To place the point at 0, negative 3, I go over 0, down 3, about right there. Then I'm going to put in 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. Over 1, up 1 would be about right there. And let's do 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. So over 2, up 5. So the graph of my line would look something like that. Okay, on number 8, this one we're multiplying by a negative 1/3. So I would pick numbers that are easily divisible by 3. So these are the numbers that I would do. 1/3 of 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. So over 0, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next one I have 3. So 1/3 of 3 is 1, but there's a negative there. A negative 1 plus 5 is 4. So over 3, 1, 2, 3, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, about right there. And 6. 1/3 of 6 is 2. We have a negative there, so it's negative 2 plus 5, which is 3. So over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 3, 1, 2, 3, puts us right there. And now our line should look something like that. So that's 18. Number 19. Our y values are going to all be 6. So we can just write 6, 6, 6. And you can put whatever you want in for your x values. And since it's y equals 6, it means that it only crosses the y-axis. And where does it cross? It crosses at positive 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is 6. So our line is a line with 0 slope, and it crosses through y value of 6. Number 20. This one is kind of the exact opposite. Our x values are all negative 3, and our y values this time can be whatever we want. And this one only has an x value, so it never crosses the y. That means it's going to be a vertical line that crosses at negative 3. So that line would look like this. Alright, on number 1, find the x and y intercepts of the graph. So what I do is I start out by saying, well, I'm going to make x 0, and on the other one, I'm going to make y 0. So if I make x 0, let's see, if I make x 0, I'm going to look at this equation and say a negative 5 times something equals negative 20. Well, that's got to be 4. And then when I cover up the y value, 4 times something equals negative 20. Well, that's got to be negative 5. And now I have found my intercepts. So 0, 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And negative 5, 0 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0 would be like right there. And so the line would look something like that. Number 2, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to make my x 0, then I'm going to make my y 0. So if I cover up my x value, I would have 6 times something equals 18. Well, that's got to be 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to cover up my y value. 2 times something equals 18. Well, that's going to be 9. So over 0, up 3, 1, 2, 3. Looks like that. Over 9, up 0 would be right here. our line would look something like that. Maybe through the point somehow. Well, you get the point there. Number 3, it says identify the slope and y-intercept of the line and then graph. Well, on number 3, my slope is 4 and my y-intercept is 3. So, to use this information to graph, I go to my y-intercept, 1, 2, 3. Oops. And then what I do is I apply the slope. So if I'm going to apply the slope, I have 4 or 4 over 1, which means up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Or down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left 1. So the line would look something like this. On number 4, what comes before the x tells us what our slope is, and because we don't have anything before an x, our slope is 0. Our y-intercept, though, is going to be -2. So this crosses the y at -2, and it has 0 slope. That is just a horizontal line, like that. Number 5. Our m in this case is a -2/5. Our y-intercept is -1. Go down 1, that's our y-intercept. Then we apply the slope, which is down 2 to the right 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our line should look something like that. On number 6, we just have to tell whether it's a relation or a function. And remember the rule is that when we do this, we want to just make sure that one of our inputs is not going to multiple outputs. And so 8 goes to -1, that's okay. 9 goes to -3, that's okay. 10 goes to -1, and that's okay. 13 goes to 5, and that's okay. What we don't want to see is 13 one time is 5, and the next time it's -3. That would make it a relation. But because we don't see any of those, we know that this one is a function. Number 7. The way that we can tell if 7 is a function or a relation is if it passes the vertical line test. And this one fails the vertical line test because there are multiple areas where you could put a vertical line and it would cross more than once. So this one is definitely a relation. On number 8, we put in -1, 0, we got out -1, that's okay. We put in 9 and we got -1 out. We put in 3 and we got -1, and that's okay. This one is a function. On number 9, to find f, the function when 7 is x, we just plug 7 in there. So we would get f of 7 equals -3 times 7 would be a -21, minus 5 more would give you a -26. The f, the function, when -2 is in there for x, we would have -3 times -2, which would be +6, and a +6 minus 5 is 1. Letter C on number 9, we would plug in 0, so the function when x is 0, -3 times nothing is nothing, minus 5 would be -5. That concludes the semester 1 review. Pay close attention to this last statement on here. Unit 5 will be on the semester final, but since it's fresh in your mind, we do not have a review. It would not be a bad idea to watch the video that got you ready for the Unit 5 test. Good luck.